Happy Saturday. Welcome into another edition of Weekend Drive. I'm Mike Martinez, pleased to be here in Flint, Michigan at Kettering University. I'm joined by the president of Kettering, Dr. Robert McMahon.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for joining the show.
Oh, delighted to be here.
Now, we are in the birthplace of General Motors.
Absolutely, right in the original Chevy in the Hole complex. In fact, this is where the sit-down strike occurred and right where we're standing.
Now, so much history here, and you guys are hoping to write the next chapter of this story.
Absolutely. In fact, it's really a wonderful story when you think about it, because it's kind of coming full circle. We're standing right in the middle of what was at one time the largest manufacturing complex in the world, the original Chevy in the Hole site here in Flint. And it had its life cycle in that, and then we have repurposed part of that land as proving ground to develop the next generation of mobility technology. So it's a kind of a wonderful full circle story for this historic and storied place.
So give us a little bit of a sense for what exactly this center has. It has a test track, it has a really nice research and engineering bay, it looks like. What all has gone into it?
Well, of course, Kettering University is one of the premier STEM institutions in the United States, and we have a long history of educating many of the leaders, chief engineers and inventors and innovators in the automotive industry, among a number of industries. And so it was really appropriate that we make some strategic investments in facilities that are required to develop the mobility technologies of the future. And that's not just the land that you see, the tracks and the places where you can test and evaluate and engineer the hardware, but also to supply the networks and the communications infrastructures and all the things that support the vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-infrastructure communications. And so this facility does all of that in one place. And it does it right in the middle of our campus. So not only do we have this phenomenal testing and engineering facility, but it's just right across from our main engineering, mechanical and automotive engineering complex. So it really leverages the investments we've already made and provides an incredible capability for us and for the companies in Michigan and in the United States to engineer these systems.
Can you talk about any specific companies, whether it's suppliers or automakers, that have partnered or have tested here?
We have literally dozens of companies that have worked here in various capacities, some working on component systems, some working on the full vehicle, some working on communications. In fact, we're the only university in the United States that operates its own private 4G LTE Advanced. What you see on your phone, it says 5GE. We have that. We have our own cellular network here in Flint. We operate cell towers, and all of the cars in this on this facility, all the vehicles in this facility, and in the urban landscape around this facility are operating in our communications network while they do it. So it's really it really runs the full gamut of technologies, and companies that are developing in all of these areas actually use this facility.
So we're seeing a proliferation of similar sites both in Michigan and throughout the country. Obviously in Michigan, the one that comes to mind is M-City. Mm-hmm. You have plenty of sites out in California, Pittsburgh, Ohio now is becoming a hotbed. Sell this to me. If I'm an automaker, if I'm a supplier, why would I want to come to Kettering? Why would I want to partner with you guys and test here?
Well, the wonderful thing about Michigan is you do have a number of facilities. You have ACM, you have M-City, you have Kettering, you have some facilities up north. Each one of these plays a particular and special role in the ecosystem of mobility. So, for example, M-City is a facility that's designed specifically to simulate the urban landscape. So it has traffic circles, and it has intersections and stop signs. That's one piece of it. ACM has a larger scale facility, so they have things like interstate exchanges and those type of flyover structures that you can develop. This one is a complementary facility to those. This is about the same size, plus or minus just a little, to M-City, so it's the same size complex, but it was engineered and designed to do something very different. It was engineered as a vehicle and technologies development testing area. So it takes the shape of of a more of a traditional proving ground, something like Romeo or Milford, in its structure. But on that, it overlays all of the communications technologies and all of the additional pieces that you need to actually simulate the full gamut of functions for an autonomous or an automatic vehicle. That's an important distinction, because this facility was really designed to emulate the whole system in an environment where people could do the kinds of detailed engineering work. I mean, right across the street we have a world-class vehicle engineering facility with all the things that go with it. You know,
Sure.
all the chassis dynos and diagnostic testing and all that stuff is here, right here, in the same protected environment. So a company that comes here to work on this facility, for example, not only gets to access all this, but they're tied directly into our faculty here. They're literally a stone's throw away across the street, as well as our students. And as you know, Kettering has a world-class cooperative education program, and so all of our students are working in companies half of the time. Many of them work in the mobility industry. So it's possible for a group of students who are studying at Kettering to get their degree working at one of the companies using this facility, to come here, be a part of the engineering of the systems while the company is here, and be at school at the same time, and create this really wonderful virtuous circle between their education and the development of the technologies.
Certainly some really good hands-on experience.
Oh, it's incredible. It's, when you think about it, it's incredible. How could you not? I mean, this facility is really, I mean, we have to put it this way, we have to educate the next generation of engineers to do this. Our students, for example, at Kettering, are one of eight universities in North America to be selected to be in the AutoDrive Challenge, which is teaching students to develop and engineer these technologies and to create level 4 autonomous vehicles. That's a challenge, because it requires that we educate them in a whole new set of technologies, a whole new set of constructs and requirements. You know, it starts with the simple, hey, if I'm going to make a car go down the road by itself, I can't depend on the lines always being there. It starts simple like that, and then goes to very complex, you know, interactions between vehicles, and how do they navigate, how do they operate safely, all those things. Human factors, how do I interact with the vehicle? We do all that here in our engineering labs and in our classrooms and on this facility.
So last question for you. Obviously, you've added on to the site in the years since it's been open. Are you happy with what's here now? Is there a phase 2 or 3 coming, or even beyond the site? What's next in terms of your engineering?
We're always expanding our capabilities here, because the industries that our students go into and the technologies in which we need to remain current are growing so quickly. I mean, one of the really wonderful things about this facility is it sits in an active urban landscape. So one of the things that we're doing in expanding the use of this facility is saying, okay, we have this closed proving ground, but we also have a city around us, and there are ways that we can use that cityscape actively to also help us develop these vehicles. So you get the best of both worlds, right? You get an engineering proving ground, and you get the cityscape, like at M-City, all in one package and in one location. So it's actually a pretty powerful model.
Well, General Motors Institute, Kettering University helped shape the first century of the automotive industry, and it looks like they're definitely shaping the second century as well. Dr. McMahon, thanks so much for joining the show.
Thank you so very much for being here.
We thank all of you for tuning in.